this.
Okay. Now, next is a bill for consideration and passing rights of the transgender persons bill. Further consideration of the motion moved by Sri Tiruchi Shiva. Yes. On 27th February 2015. I think Sri Harivansha was speaking. So he can now continue the speech.
Absent.
He is absent. Therefore, next speaker is Sri Vivek Gupta. You will have to speak?
Yeah.
Yes, then you can.
Thank you, sir. Sir, Mahatma Gandhi ji had said, our struggle does not end so long as there is a single human being considered untouchable on account of his birth. Quote. Sir, we have today over 2 million transgender people who are discriminated on their biological identity, everywhere from education to healthcare to insurance to job opportunities. Moreover, they are shunned as a disgrace. At traffic signals, cars, these people walk up and try and make a livelihood. Sir, my first suggestion to the government through you would be that in all application forms, the gender form, instead of the word sex, the gender would be used, and instead of male and female only, the third gender should also be indicated, so that these people can get an identity and be counted. Sir, we have their presence. Sir, the present society shuns them, but Arjun spent the last year of the Agyatavas in Mahabharata as a transgender. So we know that they were not shunned initially by our forefathers. So why do we shun them now? I fail to understand. And the apathy of the government towards their rights, towards their feelings is also complete. Sir, I don't know whether the word hijra is parliamentary or unparliamentary. I will take it back if it is unparliamentary. But this is how we address them these days. Yes. So, sir, this is how we address them. Sir, something should be done, like our father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi ji, had given a beautiful name, Harijan. Something should be given to them, transgender, or not to call them such names, and maybe we can give them a good name, a better life. Sir, there are few things I would like to quickly mention, not to take more time of the house. Sir, these people are still suffering from a 153-year-old colonial law, section 377 of the Indian Penal Code, which any sex they have between themselves is also considered unnatural offense and punishable by a 10-year jail term. So they have been denied the basic liberties to exist. So there is no national guidance on providing sensitive and competent services to these people. There is lack of any research data, as they at any application form, they are not counted, they are not singled out. So the Supreme Court in a landmark ruling has recognized them at 2014. However, the government continues to ignore them. Sir, the spirit of the Constitution is to provide equal opportunity to every citizen. However, these people have got no quotas in jobs, no education opportunities. So in 2009, the Indian Election Commission took a first step by allowing them to choose their gender as other on the ballot form. But it was only in 2000 that Election Commission is used voter cast them first time. So this is a welcome step, but more such steps are needed from the government. Sir, this year, the first transgender was issued a passport. Sir, in a country with 20 lakh transgenders, it's surprising to know that no passports were not issued to them till date, and in the name of procedural matters. Sir, I will end with a few facts. West Bengal is one of the first states to decide to set up a welfare board for them. The population in West Bengal is 6 lakh people, the transgender 6 lakh. So I will just end and conclude that by asking the government that a path-breaking intervention is required for training, skill development, and rehabilitation of these people across the country. Also, the third, I again repeat myself, the third option in gender forms must be introduced in all application forms across the government very soon. Thank you, sir.
You said that no passport is given to any of the transgender?
So the first passport was issued in February.
That's all?
That's it, sir.
What is the reason? Sir, what is the reason?
So that the government can answer, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Now, Sri Navaneethakrishnan.
Thank you, sir. I think the issue is very, very important. Our Honorable Supreme Court, in the case of National Legal Services Authority, versus Union of India and others have given a clear-cut verdict recognizing the Hijaras, Unitas, abort from binary gender, be treated as third gender for the purpose of safeguarding the rights under Part 3 of our Constitution and the laws made by the Parliament and the state legislature. Transgender persons' right to decide their self-identified gender is also upheld, and the centre and the state governments are directed to grant legal recognition of their gender identity such as male, female or third gender. Further, the Supreme Court has given the direction, we direct the centre and the state governments to take steps to treat them as socially and economically backward classes of citizens and extend all kinds of reservation in cases of admission in educational institutions and for public employments. Further, centre and state governments are directed to operate separate HIV surveillance centres since Hijaras transgenders face several sexual health issues. And further, centre and state governments should seriously address the problems being faced by the Hijaras transgenders such as fear, shame, gender, dysphoria, social pressure, depression, suicidal tendencies, social stigma, etc. and any insistence for SRS for declaring one's gender is immoral and illegal. Centre and state government should take proper measures to provide medical care to transgenders in the hospitals and also provide them separate public toilets and other facilities. Centre and state government should also take steps for framing various social welfare schemes for their betterment. Centre and state governments should take steps to create public awareness so that TGS will feel that they are also part and parcel of social life and be not treated as untouchable. Centre and state government should also take measures to regain their respect and place in the society which once they enjoyed in our cultural and social life. And also further, we are informed an expert committee has already been constituted to make an in-depth study of the problems faced by the transgender community and suggest measures that can be taken by the government to ameliorate their problems and to submit its report with recommendations within 3 months of its constitution. Let the recommendations be examined and based on legal declaration made in this judgment and implemented within 6 months. This is the judgment dated April 15th, 2014. So the Ministry of Social Justice has informed through its Assistant Additional Solicitor General that the government is looking into this issue. So now, even prior to this direction given by the Honorable Supreme Court, our Honorable Amma has rendered as possible as help to the transgenders, because I may be permitted to place the data. It is vital because in order to enlist the transgenders as members of the Transgender Welfare Board, provide them welfare measures, the government has constituted district level screening committees. After certification by the district level screening committee, they are registered with the Transgender Welfare Board and given an identity card. 4,677 transgenders were enumerated as per the census and 4,158 were identified as transgenders, out of which ID cards were issued to 3,981. By recognizing them as transgenders, they are also provided with ration cards and also health insurance cards, house site pattas, voter IDs and housing. In order to empower them economically, loan up to rupees 15 lakhs for transgenders, self-help groups with the 25% subsidy and 75% as bank loan is provided for self-employment activities by the government of Tamil Nadu. That is as per the guidance given by the Honorable Amma. At present, 51 transgender self-group groups have been sanctioned with 25% of subsidy to the tune of rupees 55 lakhs and rupees 1.5 crore as bank loan being distributed for starting various economic activities like provision stores, rearing milk animals, canteens, production units like soaps, etc., napkin, milk products, flying passengers autos, load autos, business activities related to cloth, coir, rice, etc. A sum of rupees 100 lakhs has been provided in the revised budget estimate for 2011-12 for the welfare of the transgenders in order to provide financial assistance for the aged transgenders who have nobody or means to take care of. The government has introduced the monthly pension scheme for the destitute transgenders. For the year 2012-13, government has allotted 1,17,59,000 for the old age pensions of destitute transgenders who are in the age group of 40 years and above. Out of total budget allotment of 1,17,59,000.
Please.
And also now they are getting the pension,
Okay.
monthly pension at the rate of 1,000 per month.
All right.
1,000 per month.
Yes,
These are all the inique schemes
that's enough.
implemented by Honorable Amma in Tamil Nadu. This is a very good schemes are now in place in Tamil Nadu. So
Okay,
I
that's okay.
enumerated 4,677.
You already said
They
that.
were, and 4,150 were identified as transgenders and patta were granted and also the ration cards, everything we have provided, and also we are providing all the transgenders ₹1,000 per month as pension. So it may be,
Very good. That's very good.
so these are all the innovative schemes
Yeah.
implemented by Honorable
Very
Amma.
good, very
I
good,
place it.
very good.
Thank you.
Sri Baishnava Parida.
Appreciate Amma will
Sir,
implement.
thank
Should
you
be
very much
implemented in other states
allowing-
also.
Kalaignar will initiate, Amma will implement.
so for allowing.
First time AIDMK supported the bill moved by DMK.
Yeah. So, sir,
Okay,
sir, I express my thanks to you for allowing to discuss this issue, which is a national issue concerned with the lives of lakhs of
okay.
people of our Indian society who are deprived of the rights to live with dignity, deprived of the right to be employed, a right to get education properly, and to enjoy the political and social economic rights, that is social justice. I think there are more than 5 lakhs of this transgender persons in India. You see, when we are talking of religions, we mention the names of the religions, Hindus, Christians, Buddhists, Muslims, like this. But never we mention the atheists, those who are living in the country. When the American president addressed to the nation, he addresses the Christians, Muslims, so and so, the religious people, along with the atheists of America. But in Indian society, till now, we don't address that section of people who constitute a large number in our Indian society since the days of Charbak, I think. Sir, here in this country, after 68 years of independence, these sections of people, the Kinnaras or Hijraj, we call it, you see, their life in Indian society in ancient days recognized by our Puranas. Even in Mahabharata, when the Pandavas in Vanavas, Arjun served in Virat, the court of King Virat, that is Nepal, as a kinnar in a disguised manner. So at that time, the kinnarans were having some social recognition and prestige also in the society. But when after this, when these Britishers came, the colonialists came in, I think in 1871 or sometime, yes, 1871, they passed one, that's the Criminal Tribes Act, where they mentioned, they categorized the Kinnaras as the Hijraj transfigure community called in that 1870 Act, which deemed the entire community of Hijraj persons as innately criminal and addicted to the systematic commission of non-bailable offences, sir. These Britishers made them as the criminal tribes and they never gave them any right, recognition. But after independence, we have forgotten them. Now what has happened? We have seen come across these people in every state, every time, in trains, in transports and everywhere. But we treat them, the Indian society, treat them as if they don't belong to our society. They are non-entities. They are some stigmas. They suffer from this society like the untouchables. They are treated. Untouchability till now is prevalent in India. We are talking of Gandhiji, but nobody mentions. And even the Hindu organization, those who are claiming as the custodian of Hinduism, those who want to just repress, to revive the Hindu, this positive traditions. Yes, all over there. Nobody talks of abolishing untouchability. This is because we, the political parties, we think if we talk of abolition of untouchability, the caste Hindus will not vote us. That is the vote politics. It now is a great obstacle in abolishing untouchability from Indian soil, sir. My friend Tarun Vijay sometimes glorifies the traditions of Hinduism. Yes, I agree on many issues, but you don't say that this is the greatest blunder, greatest crime we are committing every day in Hinduism, that due to this caste politics, we are discriminating. And when you are talking of this griha vapas, coming sir. No, my friend, I like him.
You are a prominent person.
I like you very much.
You are a prominent person. That's why he is attacking you.
Tyagiji, we want to bring them back to Hinduism. When you try to bring them back, the Muslims or Christians, to Hinduism, your Hinduism is a ladder. Say so many steps are there. The Sudras, the untouchables at the lowest level. When you bring back to your religion, where you place them? Will you place them as Harijans or Dalits? Will you place them as Sudras? That is the question we have to think, and that is the time. And so far this case of Hijrat or the transgender people are concerned, sir, they are a deprived section of our Indian society. We have not given them education. They are also the part of our human resources. If we give them education, give them training and provide them the proper employment, they will be a great source of help to our Indian society, and they will live also with dignity. So that
Yes.
I express my
Okay,
thanks
now
to
conclude.
Mr. Shiva, who has, of course,
Okay.
my friends
You have
from
taken
Tamil
double
Nadu.
time.
They said they have done
Double
everything
time.
for the transgender
Yes.
people, but Mr. Shiva belongs
That is
to Tamil Nadu,
understanding with
he
Shiva,
brings
I know.
this
Okay.
bill.
Okay,
I
Parida.
express my thanks to him, and if Tamil
Okay,
Nadu has
CP
done
Rajeeve.
this, Indian government
Okay.
should, central government should do it. And some, like the Women's Commission,
Okay.
like sir,
I called
1 minute,
Rajeeve.
sir, like
No.
Women's Commission,
You have taken
like
double
the
time.
commission,
In
Dalit
place of 3 minutes,
sir,
you took 6
commission.
minutes.
No, sir,
Double
1 minute.
time.
Indian
No.
government should say,
No.
So, appoint
you have
one
only 2 hours.
commission.
It will be over.
commission for
You will be in
them,
trouble.
sir, they are deprived sections
This is
of our people,
all right.
and I think the state governments should also take
In place
proper
of 3
steps
minutes,
to-
7 minutes
to
ho gaya.
help them. With this, thank you
Parida
very much,
ji,
sir.
thank you. CP Rajeeve.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Chairman. I would like to congratulate my friend and colleague, Tiruchi Shiva. I am congratulating you for moving this historical bill. And I already mentioned ADMK and DMK joined hands on the issues of transgender community. That is true. Tamil Nadu government, as the pioneer of this protection of transgender community, in 2008, they have constituted a transgender welfare board. Thereafter, both governments have taken several good decisions and initiatives to protect the rights of the TG community, sir. Sir, some of the colleagues already mentioned the historical judgment, that is 2014 January 27, written by a Malayali judge, K.S. Radhakrishnan, Supreme Court judge. It's a very historical judgment which recognized transgenders as the third gender and appealed the central and state government that they should be considered as socially and economically backward classes. Now, sir, nearly a year, 1 year is over, and thereafter the earlier government has constituted a committee, expert committee, to examine the suggestions, to table the suggestion after examining the Supreme Court judgment. That suggestions already submitted to the government, but I think nothing has been happened. Actually, this is the duty of the government to come with a bill to protect the welfare of the transgender community. The government is not ready to do that. That is why Tiruchi Shiva ji came to this house as a private bill. Normally the fate of the private bill after discussion, the mover withdrawn. But earlier there are several incidents I mentioned in this house. Some incidents. The earlier period of the parliament, several private bills passed in this house and it became law. That is the history earlier. But thereafter it is an academic exercise. But I request the government, this is an important thing. Actually, while we are going through the application forms, all application forms, male, female, there is no column for transgender. The Supreme Court judgment correctly stated that recognize transgender. I went through the UPSC online application form. There is only male and female columns. There is no transgender column. That is to Delhi University. In their application, there is a column for TG. And Bangalore University, there is a column, male, female and TG column is there. Tamil Nadu, some universities, there is a specific column. But in our college and universities, there is no specific column for TG community. Then they are compelled to fill their things either male or female. But no, they are not in that community, sir. Actually, that is not their mistake. They became the transgender community is not by their own mistakes. It is a hormonic or some other things. But they are attacked by several times, several laws are against their interest. Then passport also, then my friend Vivek already mentioned, first part was recently issued by the passport officer. Then there should be a column. It should be mandatory in all applications, education and employment. There should be a column for transgender community, sir. Sir, most of them are denied education. That is true, they are going to schools. Firstly, they are isolated from their own home, their own family. They try to hide this identity of the child. Then they became isolated in their houses. Then they went to the schools. There is this type of isolation from the fellow students. And actually, they are forced to stop their studies in very early stage. Thereafter, they are compelled to go outside from their houses. Then they are compelled to go some sexual work. This is a very serious issue. The state should have, we have several fundamental rights. Actually, as per the constitution guaranteed, there is no these fundamental rights, that is right to equality. This right also applicable to this transgender community and tolerates no discrimination on the grounds of sex, caste, creed or religion. That is a fundamental right. Nobody has the power to deny the fundamental right to any citizens of this country, sir. Now, this is a serious discrimination on the ground of sex. Then it is against the fundamental rights of our constitution. We are the custodians of the constitution. The parliament should make proper law to ensure the equal right to this transgender community, sir. Then in hospitals, there are male wards and female wards. There is no transgender wards. People, most of them claim they are female, woman, but the hospital doctors are not ready to treat them in the women's ward, female ward. they are not ready to admit them in male ward. De facto, they denied, the hospital administration denied the treatment for this transgender community. This is a serious human rights violation also. Not only the fundamental rights violation, it's a human rights violation also. Then there should be a specific mechanism. Like other this physically handicapped, there are some provisions. Then there should be some provisions in our rules. Special wards for this transgender community. First, at least in the medical colleges, there is a special ward. Some of them are having the HIV because of their lifestyle. That lifestyle not chosen by them, they are forced to choose that type of lifestyle. When there should be some mechanism to treat them in at least in medical colleges. And I am concluding, sir, sex education should be there and counseling, not only for these students, counseling in schools to all students, how to treat them, and special cell for transgender and civil rights also taken consideration, and two draconian rules. That is one 377 IPC and also the Immoral Traffic Prevention Act of 1956. These two acts treat as an instrument of harassment and exploitation of the transgender community, sir. It should be taken care of. And sir, then the government should give some subsidy for the surgery, sex reassignment surgery. The government should give some subsidy to the transgender community if anybody wants to go for sex reassignment surgery. And sir, some states, I am concluding, Tamil Nadu has taken very good initiative, I already mentioned, and Maharashtra, there are some incidents. Then there should be, actually in 2008, Kalanger started it and you are also continuing it.
West Bengal is...
Yes. Okay, sir. Then my request is the central government should come with a proper legislation to protect the rights of fundamental rights of the transgender community to ensure all social welfare to this community, sir. Thank you, sir.
Srimati Gundu Sudharani? No. Sri D.P. Tripathi?
Thank you very much, sir, for giving me the permission to speak on this bill moved by Honorable Member Tiruchi Shiva. I am promising you that I will not repeat the arguments taken by all these by all honorable members, but a few points are very important in this connection. What is the problem on the ground of the transgender community? If you go by the last census, the population is 4.9 million, less than half a million. And only the last census mentions that the children in age group of 0 to 6 years are 55,000. If you go at the literacy problem, the literacy rate among the transgender community is 46%. Whereas in the general category it is 74%. The gainful employment ratio is 38%. And 66% of the transgender community lives in the rural areas. This is important. All those discriminations against them have been detailed out. Honorable Member Comrade P. Rajeeve, and while moving the bill, Honorable Tiruchi Shiva has also mentioned that. So I am not repeating those discrimination. It is not merely discrimination. The other problem is that there is a kind of social stigma and hatred against them, especially in the rural areas. Now, of course, because of birth registration, many parents are coming out and the children are not being tortured in that sense as it used to happen earlier. And the laws are being enforced in certain areas. But by and large, the atmosphere of oppression against this community continues. Although Honorable Member just mentioned Mr. Vishnu Parida about the Puranas. Of course, it is not merely Mahabharata which mentions that Shikhandi and then Arjuna becoming Brihannala in the court of Virat. If you look at the entire corpus of Hindu scriptures, Srimad Bhagavat mentions it in chapter 4 in 4 shlokas. And they talk specifically about this community. Garud Puran mentions it once, but in detail, the problems of these communities. And how the nature is different. Of course, I'm not going into the Kama Sutra of Vatsyayan, which mentions it in different contexts. But the problem is that now the kind of discrimination which is done against them in society is something which is really despicable, to use the word. And there are two communities in India which face maximum discrimination and atmosphere of hatred and oppression. One is the community of differently abled persons, and the other community, of course, is transgender and other communities. What are the problems? The census, which says the transgender are 4.9 lakhs, which means 500,000, less than 500,000. But if you look at the Election Commission voters registration, in the last election, the transgender voters are only 28,341. So from 4.9 lakhs to 28,341. This is the situation in terms of voting in elections. See, so this operation must end, and I congratulate Tamil Nadu government, and of course West Bengal is also taking some initiatives in this direction. The Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment had appointed the expert committee which has given its report. I don't want to repeat all those arguments which are given, but unless we work out a national policy, because one of the journalists belonging to a very respected national newspaper, Ruma Nagarajan, has done a serious work on problems of the transgender community. And according to her, sir, through you, I want to inform the government, this is very startling information. She says that the number of transgenders in India is actually 7 or 8 times more than the figures given by the census. Now, this is a very, very important study which had to be looked into by any expert committee or anyone formulating a national policy in this direction or for this subject. Therefore, finally, while concluding my brief intervention on this subject, I would say the litmus test of any democracy is what? What is the treatment given to its minorities? And they are a very microscopic, oppressed, discriminated minority of our system. Therefore, the system has to be both sensitive and sensible towards their problems and the issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Husain Dalwai could not be present when I called him to introduce the bill. He says he wants to go early. Do you, the House agree that I will allow you just to introduce the bill? No problem. Sir Husain Dalwai.
Sir, thank you, sir. I request your leave to introduce my bill titled The Constitution Scheduled Caste Order Amendment Bill 2015.
The
Thank
question
you,
is
sir.
that leave be granted to introduce the bill. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. You introduce the bill. You say.
Sir, I introduce the bill.
Okay. This should not be taken as a precedent.
Special mention.
No, that is. Now, Sri KTS Tulsi? No. Absent. Sri Biswajit Dayamedi? Not present. Dr. M.S. Gill?
Thank you, sir. Sir, in my thinking, please, just 2 minutes. In my thinking, this is one of the most important bills which has come up on a Friday in the last many years. It doesn't matter. I am speaking now. Please. नहीं, I mean, I not disturb करो आराम नाल सुनो. Just give me a few minutes. I think it's one of the most important bills that has come up on a Friday in this house for many years. I want to compliment Shiva for bringing it forward and I've read it twice, and it is very comprehensive in the detailing of what they're putting. In order to get the attention of the two DMK parties, ADMK, I will also compliment the Tamil Nadu government and both Amma and Mr. Karunanidhi. I hope Panira Selvan is also listening to me. Please listen. You can go on laughing. Sir, this is a grave problem and a sad comment on India's civilized behavior. Many members have already put down what it relates to, how many people are affected, how many in the rural areas, how many in the urban, and I tend to agree that actually the number is much greater than what is put out in the census. I see that there is a book that was quoted, and therefore it is something which we as a civilized country must address and address without delay. The bill has laid out everything. I've read it. The need of a national commission, the need of state commissions, courts with adequate authority, directions to magistrates, because these people, children, adults, men, women, and we meet them at railway traffic lights and we look the other way. You see, almost, if I can say so sadly, like leprosy, we push away from these people. कोई भी हिजरा आ जाए तो नज़दीक आए तो हम उसको दूर करते हैं. This is the truth of India, and they have the same rights as you and me. The Constitution has the same duty to protect them as much as you and me, and this is not happening. And I compliment the Tamil Nadu government, both parties, don't worry about that. Amma also and Mr. Karunanidhi also. No, I really mean it, because Tamil Nadu does many progressive things. Forget about the politics. And this is a legislation which it seems to me only Tamil Nadu has done 7-8 years ago, and no other state in India. Tell me if any other state has done it. Okay, we compliment you also, if you have done it. Don't give light-hearted comments. I'm not sure. And therefore, the states need to pass such legislation. The centre, sir, must own this bill. Normally, very few bills, we talk of Nehru, he sometimes accepted, maybe another one sometime in the last many decades. No, this is a bill, the centre should thank Mr. Shiva and own the bill and pass a sensible legislation quickly. It will do credit to the new government of India and their social concerns. It will do credit to them. And we need urgently to put together this. The bill itself has laid out all the details of what needs to be done, how it is to be done, their legal rights, their financial help, their protection. They all need protection. And people very easily, as a mob, misbehave with individuals in India on many occasions. And certainly, बेचारे हिजड़े जो उनका तो करते हैं या करेंगे, गांव में ज़्यादा करेंगे या शहर में करेंगे. Somebody has to look after them, somebody has to protect them. And it is the duty of the government, it is the duty of the Constitution, and we are a House of Elders. We should be recommending unanimously to the government that please own this bill and immediately take it up for passage in the next session. That is what you should be doing. You will get unanimous support in both houses. This is one bill nobody will quarrel over. I think that is important. And that's all the request I want to make, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sri Mansukh L. Mandivya.
सर, तिरुचि शिवा जो ट्रांसजेंडर के लिए बिल लेके आए हैं उसको मैं अनुमोदन करना इसलिए चाहूँगा कि हिंदुस्तान में सभी प्राणी पक्षी सभी जीव के प्रति सौहार्द व्यवहार रखना ये हमारी संस्कृति है. हमारे भारतवर्ष में सभी जीव जंतु प्राणी के साथ 100-125 करोड़ की आबादी भी रहती है, और उसमें छोटा सा भी कोई जो घाव लगता है, छोटा सा भी किसी के प्रति अन्याय होता है तो हमारा जन जन लोग अपने अपनापन समझ के वैसे ही अपने दुख को, सभी का दुख को अपना दुख समझते हैं। समाज में उस वर्ग है, उनके साथ अभी तक जो व्यवहार हुआ, उनके संदर्भ में यहाँ जो दिखाया गया, तमिलनाडु गवर्नमेंट और गवर्नमेंट, उन्होंने एक्शन लिया और इनिशिएटिव लिया, सराहनीय है और उनके लिए होना चाहिए। जो ट्रांसजेंडर लोग हैं उनकी तो कोई गलती नहीं है, ये तो ईश्वर ने, उसने ऐसा बनाया है। कुदरत ने तो उसके साथ अन्याय किया ही है, कुदरत ने अन्याय किया है, उसमें उसको हम न्याय नहीं कर सकते हैं क्या? कोई विकलांग होते हैं, उसके साथ कुदरत ने अन्याय किया है, उनके लिए हमने कानून बनाया है, उनको कानून के तहत हमने कुछ सुरक्षा दी है। वैसे ही समाज का एक ये वर्ग है जिसको राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर हम कैसे न्याय दिला सके। हम राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर ये समाज को, सभी समाज के बराबर जी सके, सभी समाज उनके प्रति अपने अपनेपन जैसा व्यवहार कर सके, कानून की दृष्टि से उसको सबके सभी की बराबरी की मान्यता हो, उसे विशेष मान्यता उसको मिले, वैसा ही हम करेंगे तो ही हमने आज तक हमारे सोसाइटी का उनके साथ जो व्यवहार हुआ है, उनके साथ जो व्यवहार हुआ है, उसके साथ जो अन्याय हुआ है, वो अन्याय की पूर्तता करने की आवश्यकता है और वो पूर्तता करने के लिए हमारी जिम्मेदारी बनी हुई है कि हम उनके लिए कोई ऐसा कैसे समय तक हम वैसा ही सह करें। और रेलवे स्टेशन पर जाए, रेलवे में, बस स्टेशन पर कोई सामाजिक कार्यक्रम हो, लग्न जैसा त्योहार हो, वहां टोला के रूप में ट्रांसजेंडर लोग आए, हम उसको कहे कि चले जाओ, तो लोग बाहर खड़े रहे और उसको आने के लिए मना करें। वैसा व्यवहार उनके साथ होता है। क्यों होता है? इसलिए होता है कि उसको हम अछूत समझते हैं, उसको हम अछूत समझने के नाते उसको हमें सोसाइटी के साथ, जो सोसाइटी के सभी के बराबरी का सम्मान नहीं मिल रहा है, इसलिए उसकी वो स्थिति है। मुझे लगता है कि उनके लिए अभी ये समय आ गया है। अभी तक उनके साथ जो हुआ हो हुआ, लेकिन क्या नई सवाल नहीं हो सकती? क्या हम नई स्थिति पैदा नहीं कर सकते? क्या हम उसको एक ऐसा अवसर नहीं प्रदान कर सकते जैसे कि हमने अभी तक उनके साथ जो व्यवहार किया है उसका हम हकारात्मक दृष्टि से बदला न दे सके? मुझे लगता है कि उनके लिए हमें, मेरी तो सरकार से विनती है कि सरकार ही क्यों कानून लेके ना आए, जैसे कि ए वर्ग के साथ, ट्रांसजेंडर लोगों के साथ एक अच्छी तरह से न्याय हो सके। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने तो कह दिया कि उनके लिए कानून बनाओ, उनको समाज के साथ बराबरी का व्यवहार हो, इसके साथ ऐसा कानून बना के उसको न्याय दिलाओ। और मुझे लगता है कि जिन्होंने वो किया है, जो स्टेट ने किया, बहुत अच्छा। यहाँ तमिलनाडु के हमारे सहयोगी साथी एमपी बोल रहे थे, तमिलनाडु में जो व्यवस्था हुई है, उनके लिए पेंशन की योजना हुई है, हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस हुआ है, उनका सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप बनाया गया है, बहुत अच्छी बात है। क्या सारे देश में हम ऐसा नहीं कर सकते? जैसे कि उसकी आमद भी बने, उसका लाइफ सिक्योर हो जाए, वो अपनी दृष्टि से, गवर्नमेंट की सुरक्षा की दृष्टि से वो समान भेर जी सके, उसकी समान भेर आय हो सके। उनकी जो समान भेर आय हो सकेगी ना, तो किसी के पास उसको लंबा हाथ करने के लिए नहीं जाना पड़ेगा, और किसी के पास उसको जो लंबा हाथ नहीं करना पड़े, तो उन्होंने कोई रेलवे स्टेशन पर, कोई बस स्टेशन पर, कोई लग्न प्रसंग में, कोई जाहिर प्रसंग में, कभी किसी के पास अपने पेट भरने के लिए लंबा हाथ करना नहीं पड़ेगा। और इसलिए मेरी आपसे अपेक्षा है कि ये समुदाय के साथ ऐसी सोशल सिक्योरिटी दी जाए, उनके लिए कानून में ऐसा प्रावधान किया जाए जैसे कि वो सेल्फ सफिशिएंट हो जाए, अपना रोजगार के लिए उसको पूरा अवसर मिल सके, और वो उनको किसी के यहाँ हाथ लंबा करने का अवसर न हो, तो समान भेद जीवन जी सकता है। और हमारी वो जिम्मेदारी है, सारा भारतवर्ष की जिम्मेदारी है कि समाज में वो उन्नत मस्तक से जी सके, समाज में उनके साथ समान व्यवहार हो, समाज में उसको अपनी जात को पिछड़ेपन न देखे, और वैसा कानून बना के हम उसको प्रोटेक्ट करें। मेरी माननीय सभापति के माध्यम से सरकार से विनंती है कि सरकार ही एक ऐसा बिल लाए जैसे कि उसको सामाजिक सिक्योरिटी मिल सके। धन्यवाद।
चौधरी मुनव्वर सलीम।
सभापति महोदय, मैं सबसे पहले तो भाई शिवाजी को मुबारकबाद देता हूं कि उन्होंने समाज के एक ऐसे तबके का दर्द का एहसास किया जो दूसरों की खुशी में खुश होता है। मेरा मानना है, मालिक कहता है कि तुम हमारी मखलूक पर रहम करो, हम तुम पे रहम करेंगे। मखलूक चरण परन, इंसान, जानवर सब होते हैं। अभी सरकार का विजन डॉक्यूमेंट आया था राष्ट्रपति जी के अभिभाषण में, उसमें समग्र विकास की बात कही थी, सर्वजन हिताय की बात कही थी। ये समाज का वो तबका है उपसभापति महोदय जो दूसरे के घर बच्चा पैदा होते देख के खुश होता है और इतना खुश होता है कि खुशी में नाचने लगता है। ये समाज का वो तबका है जो इसको विपरीत लिंगी लक़ब दिया गया है, उपाधि दी गई है। ये इसको इसने खुद अपने आप को विपरीत लिंगी नहीं बनाया है, बल्कि कुदरत ने उसको ये इनाम दिया है, कुदरत ने उसको विपरीत लिंगी बनाया है। लेकिन हिंदुस्तान की आज़ादी के 67 बरस बीत जाने के बाद भी अगर समग्र विकास की परिधि में वो विपरीत लिंगी लोग नहीं आते जो दूसरे की खुशी में खुश होते हैं, खुद उनके घर बच्चा नहीं होता लेकिन दूसरे के घर बच्चा होते देख के खुश होते हैं, तो ये दुर्भाग्य है। मैं एक बार फिर मुबारकबाद देता हूं भाई शिवा को कि उन्होंने समाज के उस तबके के दर्द को छूने की कोशिश की है जो हिंदुस्तान के इतिहास में एक बड़ा स्थान रखता है और बड़े बड़े योद्धाओं को उनका सहारा लेना पड़ा है। मैं उपसभापति महोदय, इस विधेयक में बहुत सारी बातें कही गई हैं। विधेयक बड़ा मुकम्मल है। विधेयक में उन्हें आर्थिक सामाजिक संरक्षण की बहुत सारी बात कही गई है, लेकिन मैं और आगे जाके कहता हूं इस विधेयक में जितनी बातें कही गई हैं, मैं कहता हूं उन्हें राजनीतिक संरक्षण भी दिया जाना चाहिए। मैं उत्तर प्रदेश से राज्यसभा में आता हूं। उत्तर प्रदेश को यह गर्व प्राप्त है कि उत्तर प्रदेश से विपरीत लिंगी एक व्यक्ति विधानसभा में आ चुका है। मैं मध्य प्रदेश का रहने वाला हूं। मध्य प्रदेश को भी यह गर्व हासिल है कि मध्य प्रदेश की विधानसभा में भी आवाम ने एक विपरीत लिंगी व्यक्ति को विधायक बनाया था। लिहाजा इस बिल को अगर मुकम्मल करना है और उन्हें पूरा इंसाफ दिलाना है, माननीय सामाजिक न्याय के मंत्री जी बैठे हुए हैं, मैं उनसे अनुरोध करता हूं कि सामाजिक आर्थिक संरक्षण के साथ साथ उनको राजनीतिक संरक्षण भी मिलना चाहिए। जब राजनीतिक संरक्षण मिलेगा तो उनके साथ वो होने वाली नाइंसाफी, मैंने अपनी आंखों से देखा कि एक स्टेशन के ऊपर, आगरा स्टेशन के ऊपर मैं बैठा हुआ था, एक विपरीत लिंगी व्यक्ति ये सोच रहा था कि वो मर्दाने जेंट्स बाथरूम में जाए, यूरिनल में जाए या लेडीज में जाए, और वो जब लेडीज में दाखिल हुआ तो लेडीज ने उन्हें डांटा और ये कहा कि तुम यहां कैसे आए, मैं खुद प्रत्यक्षदर्शी हूं। तो समाज का ये तिरस्कार जो वो झेल रहे हैं, वो तिरस्कार उनकी अपनी गलती से नहीं है, बल्कि कुदरत ने उन्हें दिया है। उनको संरक्षण देने के लिए, उनको न्याय देने के लिए, उनको इंसाफ देने के लिए ये आवश्यक है कि समग्र विकास का नारा देने वाली, सर्वजन हिताय का नारा देने वाली सरकार उनको न्याय दे, उनको आर्थिक, राजनीतिक और सामाजिक संरक्षण प्रदान करे। बहुत शुक्रिया।
बहुत धन्यवाद जी। श्री डी बंदोपाध्याय।
Sir, I would like to compliment my brother member Tiruchi Shivaji for bringing in this bill in the way he has done it, the matter he has brought in. Sir, we polite society, we do not mention the word this hijra or whatever we call it. It is a unspeakable word. And the people who belong to this community are totally untouchable. So that's why the way Mr. Shiva has brought it out has at least touched our conscience that we are discriminating against our own brothers and sisters, a creation of God for which they are not responsible. Therefore, sir, I would urge very simply through you to the central government that let them bring out a law on this subject, leaving some leeway to the states to make such little amendments as they like to cover the whole gamut of the activities of the unfortunate people. Sir, in the famous judgment, I will just read one portion and I end. The judges, Radhakrishnan and Honorable Judges Radhakrishnan and Sikri said, with your permission I am reading it, seldom our society realizes or cares to realize the trauma, agony and pain which the members of transgender community undergo, or appreciates the innate feelings of the members of transgender community, especially of those whose mind and body disown their biological sex. Our society often ridicules and abuses the transgender community and treated as untouchables, forgetting the fact that the moral failure lies in society's unwillingness to contain or embrace different gender identities and expressions, a mindset we have to change. Sir, this is what our attitude towards the transgender. I will only appeal to you, sir, that let the central government take note of this fact that they require protection, support of the entire community, because they are as much Indian citizens as any one of us are here, and they are entitled to as much protection of law as any one of us have it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Shri MP Achuthan.
I fully support this bill and congratulate dear Tiruchi Siva for bringing such a comprehensive bill. Many of the main issues have been dealt by other speakers, because now we as a society consider transgenders as outcast. We have to, the attitude of the society has to be changed. And these are numerically very small population, and they cannot influence the electoral result. So political parties normally doesn't consider them as a vote bank. My request is that the issues of the transgenders must become an integral part of the agenda of the political parties in India. That is why for the last 68 years, we as a society doesn't consider the issues of these people. So now it is time, because after the verdict of the Supreme Court, it has become an issue in the public domain. And now it is up to the government to take action and give a legal framework. And this bill, a comprehensive one, must be basis of it. And I appeal to the government to bring a comprehensive bill on the basis of what Tiruchi Siva has drafted in the next session of the our parliament itself, and do justice, because it is basically a human right issue, a democratic issue. Consider it in that way. So we are doing justice to ourselves as a society. So we, the government, I again request the government to come with a comprehensive legislation. Thank you, sir.
जी, श्रीमती वंदना चौहान, absent. Miss Anuaga.
I'm aware that Many things have already been said, but I think it's worth repeating. In our society, we deny the existence of transgenders, and also there's discrimination and taboo against them. As a result, we do not even know the exact number of transgenders existing in India. For no fault of theirs, their families in which they are born are ashamed and conceal their identity from society and shun them to places where the Hijra population live. Hijra is considered as a derogative word, and yet we haven't found a respectable substitute word for it. Deprived of formal education, skill, they are forced into traditional occupations like blessing a newly born or a newly married couple, or become sex workers or beggars. Society and government so far accepts only the male and the female gender, and hence transgenders are forced to identify themselves either as male or female. And some instances were given that, say for example, as a woman, she enters a woman's railway compartment and she has to deal with smirks and stares. The first requirement is that existence has to be given a legal recognition. Instead of listing them as others, we need to have males and females and transgender in all the forms that we have to fill. In schools, we need to openly talk about transgenders so that our children are sensitized and learn to accept them as normal human beings. Because of this ignorance and bias, there is humiliation and social ostracism, and most transgender students give up studies. These children require counseling and support. There are many legal and special protections transgenders need. But as a first step, if we members of Parliament recognize and respect their existence, and if we do that, many other benefits are bound to follow. Thank you.
Thank you. Shri Anand Bhaskar.
Respected Vice Chairman, to begin with, I salute my elder from Dravidian culture, Sri Tiruchi Shiva, for framing and making this document as the property of Indian Parliament and also of Indian government and also of Indian people. Mic, please. Sri Tiruchi Shiva has drafted this Rights for Transgender Persons Bill with 10 chapters, 58 clauses, and including all the aspects that are required for comprehensive law. And this shall go into the history of Indian Parliament. We shall not forget the Paramatma Tattva. This transcends from all the cultures and religions. But to make a mention, I take the Vaishnavite formula. Sri Mahavishnu himself claimed, "Na stri na shenda na purushaha." Na stri na purushaha na shendaha. Vishwamayudu, Vishwavibhuvudu. He is also claimed to be Mohini. neither man nor woman. And as rightly recollected by Tripathi ji, the Mahabharata establishes the role of not only Brohanala for the transient period of their crisis in the Virat Parva, but also reflects the complication of to be framed society in the shape of Shikandi. Before Bhishma Pitamaha. Now the status and the plight of transgender persons are more pathetic than Shikandi. The Hijra. The word is Urdu Hindustani word, and it is having the root from Arabic, Hijr, meaning the person who is moving away from his milieu, the person who is going away from his tribe. That's how it has come. And now it is being treated across several nations as if it is a community. No, it can never be a community. They belong to several castes. They belong to several creeds. They belong to several religions. But that is the biotechnological complication of the life. There are transgenic animals. There are transgenic plants. And likewise, the transgender lives, human beings. Towards them, just sympathy and empathy will not at all serve. The recognition and the respect as advocated by Anu Agaji will alone elevate our level of standard as human beings, that too within our country, India. I also salute the mayor of Raigad of Chhattisgarh, the first transgender mayor, Madhubhai Kinnar. Her election got the attention and attraction of the global media. That transgender person, Madhubhai Kinnar, has defeated the candidate of the present ruling party of not only center but also of that Chhattisgarh state. I salute the capacity and stamina of the community which is not to be. Just 24 hours earlier, in America, a state called Ottawa, the Ottawa legislature has adopted a legislation providing the sufficient rights to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender persons. Across the nations, the LGBT community is a challenge and equally attracting the attention and the respect. This is high time for us to get ready to accord the due respect and provide sufficient remedies, amenities and facilities and the separately required, specially required welfare to that complication. At this juncture, I will not only appeal union government to come out with comprehensive support mechanism with proper institutional support and safeguards, but also I call upon the scientific community that there is a facility to a male person to become female, a female to become male. When it is happening, why this trauma to transgender person? Let the scientific community rise to the occasion and evolve the required biotechnological scientific innovations so that they can come out of their trauma. Their trauma is not only societal, a very severe psychological trauma they undergo. Hence, there is every necessity to evolve certain support mechanism to the research institutes which are having the concentration on the DNA and other formulations to focus also on these aspects. And as mentioned by Shri Ji Shivaji in his comprehensive document, since this happened to be the private member bill, we all know that it is not going to be a law. But if, yes, when it will become, only when the union government of the day adopts it and moves through their own platform, then only there is scope. For that, let the union social empowerment ministry come up with their mechanism to first evaluate the immediate requisites of the institutions, such as redressal cells to begin with, and subsequently, as proposed by Shivaji in his nice piece of bill, the requisite welfare mechanism and the protection to them on par with the SC/ST Act, then this will be a respect to their lives and they will get eased out of their trauma. With this appeal, I once again appreciate the gesture and the care and concern of Tiruchi Shivaji, and I request the union government that this is high time to respond to the demands of the present needs of transgender population. Thank you very much.
धन्यवाद.